All right, well, call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Barb, would you mind doing roll call, please?
Sure. Commissioner Goodall,
Here.
Commissioner Corman. Here. Commissioner Wire.
Here.
Commissioner Shaw.
Here.
Mayor Lindsay.
Here. You have before you the agenda for this evening.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there anything on the consent calendar anyone wants to discuss? If not, do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Well, second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under unfinished business, second reading of ordinance number 1667, revising ordinances relating to excavation. And Jameson, would you like to address that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the second reading and final reading of the ordinance. There was one change made in the first reading. In the first reading, we did not have any language that allowed for a fine for violation of not receiving an excavation permit, so that language was added in there. We don't believe that's a substantial change, so this would still be the final approval for the second reading. The intent for this ordinance is to make general updates and cleaning up our existing sections of ordinance as it relates to excavations. So with the changes that are made, we are requiring licensed installers for all utility work being done on our mains. Previously, we did allow the option for some non-licensed installers if they filed a bond, but we would like to remove that option and make it so that all installers are licensed. We also clarified seasonal limitations to state that the director of streets can waive them as needed when the weather is cooperating with us. Otherwise, this is largely cleanup language, and other than that one change that I noted is the same language from the first reading, as staff recommend approval.
And clarification, so. Questions or comments? If not, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve second reading of ordinance 1667, revising ordinance related to excavations with the changes made.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under new business, approve first reading of ordinance number 1668, amend appendix B, zoning, section 1702. And again, Jameson, I'll ask if you want to address this one.
I'll have Ryan come up and he can add to this. This ordinance adjusts the zoning for new properties that are annexed in the west side of town for the purpose of construction of a Dollar General. Ryan, what do you think we need to know?
So this rezone went to the planning commission and was approved unanimously by the planning commission and then sent on to you folks. The staff had reviewed this as far as how it pertains to the comprehensive land use plan before we took it to the planning commission. And this area of town and future development is identified as appropriate for commercial and industrial, and that would fit this use. The proposed zoning of highway business for lot 1 would be appropriate for that corridor. It's along Highway 34. It'd be the most appropriate zoning. The other two lots, lot 2 and 3, would be zoned ag, and that would be, in line with the current use that's currently used for raising of crops. And although this would create kind of a spot zone of ag between those two highway business zones, both to the east and the west, the ag district is meant to preserve lands, and this is a quote from our zoning ordinance, to preserve lands best suited for agricultural use from encroachment of incompatible uses and to preserve lands suited to eventual development in other areas. So while you never want a spot zone, if you are going to have spot zone, it's appropriate to have it as an ag to allow that use to continue. And then also it sets the table for eventual development in other ways. And so we, the staff, had recommended that the planning commission strongly consider approval of that rezone, and they ultimately did approve that.
Mhm. And we have other areas in town that would come and mirror that as well.
Yeah, whenever you're doing those transition zones, it's very difficult to hit your zoning exactly right as you're developing those, especially if you have kind of a gap. It's difficult, it's cool.
Questions or comments? Jameson, do you have anything to add?
Nope, that covers it.
If no questions or comments, do we have a motion?
Probably a motion to approve ordinance number 1668.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Resolution 2024 set public works and utility fees, fines and penalties. And Jameson or Nathan?
Yeah, I'll tackle this one. So this
Okay.
resolution ties back to the excavation ordinance that just received final approval. We have this resolution for fees, fines and penalties for the public works and utilities departments that is active at all times. And with the passage of that new excavations ordinance, we had a few items to add to that. So the resolution is 3 or 4 pages long, but there are really only 3 new items to that. One is the addition of an excavation permit fee. That is $25. That is what we currently charge. It just wasn't listed in the resolution. Second is for street surfacing, and that sets the cost at the actual cost of materials plus 15%. And then also the labor and equipment used at actual cost. This is also our current practice, and we use this when the city is resurfacing areas that others have excavated. And the final item is a violation of the excavation ordinance, which is $200 per violation if excavations are completed without receiving a permit. So those 3 items are the new ones to the resolution, but they do match our current practices. None of the other items that are listed in the resolution have changed since the last time it was passed.
Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-15. Setting the public works and utility fees, fines and penalties.
Sorry.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 12, award bid number 941, construction of Trojan Village electric distribution to Engelstead Electric. Jameson or Nathan? Nathan, do you want to tackle that?
It's self-explanatory for the most part. Just give you an update on where it's at. The engineer's estimate was 106,000, so we're about 36% underneath the engineer's estimate as far as awarding that bid.
Yeah, we had very competitive, 7 bids received, low bid of 70,000, as Nate mentioned, is underneath that engineer's estimate. So we're happy with that, and we recommend that low bid to Engelstead Electric, 70,626.71.
Did they have piggyback jobs in town or?
No, new bidder. We haven't seen them in town. They're actually a new bidder to the utilities in general, from what I gathered, so.
We do a lot of direction for it.
Other questions? Comments? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve award bid number 941, construction of Trojan Village electric distribution to Engelstead Electric.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 13, award bid 954 for the sale of a 2001 Ford F-150 pickup through Purple Wave for $3,900 to Gregory Price of Madison, South Dakota. And Jameson, you want to address that one?
For the next 2 items in the agenda, there's not a lot to add other than what's already in the title. I'll note for this pickup, it's a pickup that we've had ownership of for some time, and we haven't had much need of it the last couple of years, so we decided it's time to sell it and put that money back to use.
Questions or comments? Do we have a motion?
Motion to award bid 954 in the amount of $3,900 to Greg Price.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Award bid number 955 for the sale of the Generac Guardian Series generator through Purple Wave for $500 to Alan Bowl of Selby, South Dakota.
This item was a old generator. We've since replaced it with a new one. As you can tell, it's kind of reaching the end of its life. There's not a lot of value left in it. But we are ready to sell that and get whatever we can out of it.
Questions, comments?
What would somebody use this for, Nate?
I have no idea,
Parts.
scrap value,
Just scrap
parts.
value? Okay.
Yeah. Could be parts or it could be, exactly scrapping.
Sure.
So, other questions? If not, do we have a motion?
Make a motion to award bid 955 for sale of Generac Guardian Series generator through Purple Wave for $500 to Alan Bolt.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 15, advertise request for proposal for water tower maintenance contract. And Nathan, do you want to address that?
Basically last year, I have some experience with a company that kind of views water tower maintenance and asset management for those items in a long-term perspective. And through evaluation, there's some long-term financial benefits, as well as some operational benefits to it. We introduced that to the water superintendents, both the production superintendent and the distribution superintendent. Vetted the process, got some information back, decided to enter that into budget. So at this point here, this is a request for proposals to see if that's gonna be right for the city of Madison as far as managing those assets in the long-term future, so.
Very good. Questions or comments? Jameson, did you have anything more to add?
I think this is a wise way to move forward and it makes budgeting a lot easier when we know what that annual cost for maintenance is gonna be, and also ensures that those assets are kept up to date and in good use.
So do they do in-depth study of the northeast tower, or how are they gonna know
Been done.
it's been done?
Yep, and anybody that's supposed to respond to this request for proposals, they're supposed to make sure they come in and work with staff to make sure the proposals are accurate. There's a substantial renovation that was recommended on the northeast tower before last year, and then the findings last year from the third party that came in also said that there's substantial renovation must occur. So,
Is that the one by the airport?
correct.
Other questions? Comments? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to advertise for request for proposal for water treatment, water tower maintenance contract.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 16, May finance updates.
Thanks, Nate.
Jameson. Thanks, Nate.
Amy, our finance officer, is out at a conference for the next few days, so I will be presenting this month's updates. We'll jump ahead to the next, oh, I'm sorry, Barb, can you find these slides? Yeah. Do you know if they have a minimized at all? Oh, perfect, good, there, that works. Yep. Okay, so, finance updates for the month of May, so this includes our finances through April. The next slide. Amy wanted to make a particular note to welcome her new finance commissioner, Sarah Cronin. Apparently she's trying to get off a good first foot with you, so call that out. Now, again, this is through April, so we are a third of the way through the year, so the next couple slides, you can keep that 33% in mind. On the revenue side, we've got our primary funds listed on this slide. Many of these, as I always call out, the general fund, those dollars come in 2 main times a year, so the next month or so, you'll see that first area of property tax start coming through, and so those numbers will be jumping up. Same with some of the utility funds. Water fund goes up a lot more during the summer, and you'll see some of that stuff coming through. And then expenditures. A lot of these are at or under the 33% that we're eyeing, and that's also common. The first third of this year that we've had is winter months, and we don't have as many expenses. A lot of the construction and other projects that are going on throughout this year come through in the summer, so those numbers will start ticking up more over the next few months. Any questions on R&E? Okay, we'll keep flying then. For cash on hand, staff have been making some transfers over as payments are starting to go out on some of these larger projects, moving into general cash as needed. We do have in total 22 million, 18.5 is tied up in investments, but able to be moved as needed. In our checking, we've got 2.3 million and then another million in our money market. Restricted cash reserves for some items, that sort of thing, is 610,000. In the past, you had asked for more details on those investments, that $18 million we have there, and staff still have that in mind, and we're just waiting for Amy to get back and be able to dive into that a little bit deeper. We will have that at a future meeting. Of more interest this month is the sales tax. So it's kind of some crazy numbers that we're seeing come through here. So the April sales tax for this year was $556,000. So year over year, that's up 50%. That's $185,000 more than last year. Department of Revenue is looking into that a little bit for us. Sometimes mistakes can be made when businesses are reporting their tax. Sometimes businesses get audited and are paying sales tax for past times that they weren't paying enough on. And we just don't know what the answer is on that yet. So we'll have to wait and see if that 50% increase is valid or not, or if those dollars are gonna stay true. So if they do, certainly nice numbers for us to see coming through. And then year to date, we would be at 1.7 million, which is an increase of 19%. But right now, all those sales tax numbers kind of a big asterisk on them as we're waiting to see what comes through with last month's finances. And then the next slide shows that rapid increase in the sales tax there. So I would love for it to be accurate numbers that stick true, but we will have to wait and see.
Did they give you an idea of when they're gonna get back to you on that?
No, and I'll actually give credit to Eric Cortness with the chamber. He likes to follow the sales tax pretty closely, and he'd reach out to them for comment. And
Sure.
we don't have a definitive answer yet.
Could be just a one-time
Yeah,
purchase too.
right, it could. I think I figured it was like $9.5 million more in taxable sales increase from the previous year. So if it's one thing, it's certainly a big thing, and I don't know what that would be, but we'll have to wait and see. And that's all we have for you this month. Any questions?
Questions? All right. Barb, do we have any public comment? Okay. Robert Willard. Would you mind coming to the table up here, sir?
Surely will, thank you.
Okay,
Do I sit down?
please. And then the reason we ask you on that is because right in front of you there, that is the recorder and that for people at home that are listening on their computers. And that,
That's okay, I sing in the shower, so I'm used to it.
very good. No, sounds great.
It's really nice to hear that you're having DG Market come into town.
Can you start with your name? Just,
Oh.
Recording, yeah.
Robert Williard.
Thank you.
Anyway, it's nice to know that you have the DG Market coming into town. One thing I noticed about this town is a vibrant town, but there is no Walmart. Where is the Arby's? You know what I'm saying? Why? I just was wondering why. Have you guys or have people in the past, have they refused any Walmarts to come into town?
The one thing I can tell you from having been in business and having a business here in town
Mhm.
for 20 years, people use their credit cards.
Oh, I know.
We used to have a J.C. Penney's on Main Street.
Yeah, I heard
And
your
what-
spiel about that.
And so,
Yeah.
and what J.C. Penney's found out was the same credit cards being used here were used in Sioux Falls. They didn't figure they'd do lose anything.
Right.
The other thing is any of the businesses that come in, they do a market analysis. And if it's, looks like it could be profitable, we welcome them. If it looks like,
Have they come into town? Have you denied?
we have
anybody?
businesses look at Madison
Right.
and they just
But as
say
far
that
as
there's
J.C.
not enough
Penney,
volume.
as far as J.C. Penney, I'm sorry, because I used to listen to Larry King, so I know I have a few minutes times here. As far as J.C. Penney is concerned, if you look back in history, every town basically had a J.C. Penney. You remember Monkeys?
Absolutely.
Okay, they're no longer in business. Remember
Right.
Oneida? They're no longer in business. That's the way market should be. Free enterprise should come and go due to its merits. The question I have for you is, has this committee or this committee before denied any grocery stores, any fast food places, any pharmacies to come into town?
I'm gonna say absolutely not, because
Okay.
we really welcome businesses to look at the city of Madison and come to town.
That's great. That's what I wanted to have on record.
Mhm.
Now, as far as Mr. Jameson, you mentioned that 100% of the utility money goes into the enterprise fund.
No,
Ooh. Okay.
No, I'll restate what I shared the other day, is
Okay.
that we haven't made any transfers recently. The city has the ability to transfer money from enterprise funds to general funds.
I want to get back real quick because I know I got a short period of time. According to DOR, SIC code 5411, this town does $24 million worth of grocery business a year. And as, you know, and I know there's other places to get groceries, but they have a different SIC code. Okay, so it's one store in town called, Sunshine. That same store in Hartford does 6 million. Harrisburg does $7 million worth of grocery business, no matter how many grocery stores they have, due to fact of competition. If you look at Sturgis, Sturgis has about the same high rates as Madison does with utilities. They also do about $24 million worth of grocery business a year, but they have 2 or 3 grocery stores in town. They're only 20 minutes away from Spearfish that has everything, Safeway, you know, you name it. Same thing, about 20 some minutes to Rapid City, they have about everything. Sturgis County is a lot bigger than Lake County, plus it's a tourist area. They get 750,000 motorcycles a year. But Madison does $24 million worth of grocery business. There's some big discrepancies there because competition should come into town. DG Market's nice, granted, I love it. But there should be some solid effort in town to get a Walmart or get a neighborhood Hy-Vee or get some competitive drugstores in town. This town should be growing, not losing 240 families like they did last year. You come into town and says 7,000 people, but in actuality, it's about 6,000. This town should be around 10, 12, but it needs to be focused. Focus on the people, focus on what people want out of this town. I talked to a lot of people in town. They don't have no choices in town. It seems like it's restricted business. But as
that
far as,
24 million is divided among 12 places in town you can buy groceries.
yeah, well, Mayor, I hate to tell you, but DOR classifies Lewis and the convenience stores as different SIC code. It's a total different SIC code. 24 million is reflective of this grocery store. I know you got a Mexican grocery store recently, but that doesn't include what I'm just saying, because the figures of June 2022 to July 2023 was 24 million here in Madison. That's a lot of business for one grocery store. Now, also, I have a problem because it's a matter of I guess, impression. LAIC, you know, they have these board of directors that are these business people. And instead of focusing on what the people want in this town, we've had a boondoggle with True Shrimp, which has been a total boondoggle. We spend time getting a sportsplex, you know, renowned sportsplex business. If we focus a little bit more in this town, what this people want in this town could grow. This town could have variety. And if a business doesn't work like JCPenney, like you mentioned, doesn't work out, so be it. Another business can come into town and compete, but it should be free enterprise.
It is free enterprise in Madison.
Well, you need to go to Pipestone, because you go to Pipestone, it appears as free enterprise. You have competing grocery stores, you have competing Family Dollars. I see a difference when I go to Pipestone. When I came here the first time, I noticed a big difference, like, what the heck is wrong with this town? And so that's what I wanted to say. Thank you for giving me 3 minutes. I will be back because I'm waiting for information on the utilities. The engineer, Ryan, is supposed to get that to me. So I'll be back on that. But this town needs to focus more on the people and not on the individual grandiose stuff. You come to town, you see a $45 million sports arena, which I know the city has nothing to do with, but you have all this focus, energy on certain grandiose things. This town needs to have competition. It needs to have open representation for the people and so forth. So
So how long have you lived here, Robert?
2 years, but I've been in a lot of
Oh,
towns.
that's great.
And the reason I moved here is because of my health. I used to make good money and, I became disabled.
Mhm.
And I bought into Christy Nome's deal about South Dakota,
Oh,
and this is
great.
one of the top places to move to.
Well, welcome here, but I'm gonna tell you what, I've lived here for 20+ years,
Mhm.
and I appreciate the things that we have here. And I appreciate a sports complex, and I appreciate the fact that we have a grocery store in this community.
Right.
And there's been people that have tried, and I know that there's been talk of other grocery stores in this community.
But
And
you have not denied them.
absolutely.
That is good. That's what I wanted to know on record
In fact,
because,
there's a foundation out there between Lewis and Montgomery's that was put in by local business people to get Hy-Vee to build there.
So,
They said there's not enough profitability for 2
you
stores.
have, you have that record. Can I have that?
I don't have that. No, you can go talk to, Sinclair's.
Sinclair.
They own Montgomery's. They,
Okay,
the foundation was put in out there.
okay. Well, I'll ask
Bring
them.
one to
I'll ask
town.
them. That's, but
so why did you choose Madison, Robert?
because I became disabled and I bought a mobile home,
Okay,
originally so I could start to retire, you know, save money to retire.
sure.
I became disabled. I worked for a crooked company that owed me money. I had to sue them. And, corporations bought out all these mobile homes and my lot rent went up 3 times in 1 year. A lousy little lot with dandelions on it, $550 a month. So I got a hold of some good people here in South Dakota that moved me down here. And my health was worse than it is now, thank God. But, you know, maybe, you know, count my blessings. But anyway, I came here because they moved me down here. I'm paying when I'm still paying in Lincoln until my moving expenses get done. First thing I noticed when I come to town, I won't name the business, they royally ripped me off. Because the movers paid for hooking up my place, charged me $2,000. And they don't do business with that company anymore because of what they did to me. That was first indication of this town. Second one is getting your utility bills. I tried to get my car oil changed in this town. It takes 5 quarts of synthetic oil in one filter. They want $110. So I drive down to Coleman and get it for $54 less. I had a 3-foot sewer pipe that froze up 2 years ago. My other pipes are all, you know, had the electric tape on it. The guy in town wanted $800 to defraud it. I had to go outside this town, do it for $100. So I continuously see this.
Okay, so my question for you is, if you're so dissatisfied, why do you stay here?
Well, because I'm stuck. I owe for moving here.
Okay,
And the only way I can get out of here is to sell my place, which I love.
Yep.
So my last grandiose deal is maybe help change this town.
yeah, and
I
I
haven't-
appreciate that.
okay.
I'm not telling you I
Right.
don't. It's
Right.
just, there are a lot of people that really like what we have here.
Well, then they could spend $1 million for my place, because a lot of places, a lot of things that they charge in this town is way overpriced.
Well, but that's their
So-
choice. And if people want to pay that, that's their choice.
That's great, but it's also a people's choice to have
Yeah,
choice.
and I.
There's a people's choice to have choice.
I totally agree with you.
Yes.
And I'm not denying that. But
What do
There are
you
a lot
do,
of-
Adam?
I'm a high school principal.
Oh, okay.
So-
And he's the woodworker guy.
Yeah.
And
But,
what do you do? No, I'm just kidding.
but I appreciate what we have in this community and. We work hard to have all these things and.
Well, you're not working too
And I-
hard because most towns have this thing.
Well, but.
And
you-
most
that's
towns-
your
most
opinion.
towns-
That's your opinion.
Well, I've been around long enough and I know this, when I leave town here, things are more normal.
Well, okay, well then, once again, if you are dissatisfied being here.
No, I think what we need to do is replace people like you. Maybe they can be
That's,
commissioners.
and you
and
run,
change-
my friend, and you can have this seat.
Well,
I'll give it to you.
that'd be great.
Okay.
Listen,
I can't wait.
One of the things that I would suggest in that too is up at the college. It's been about 5-6 years ago, a group of college students said that Madison was too expensive. And so
I know
what
you
they
told me
did,
about
they did
that, but you
yeah,
never gave
I
me the
did.
report. You told me to go
I don't
down
have
to
the
the dairy.
report. You
I
have
know
to
you
get
told me to
from
go down
DSU.
to the Daily Leader and they don't have it on film, so I have to go newspaper by newspaper. You don't have the year.
I don't have the year.
Yeah, you don't have nothing.
But you should be able to check with them. at the
You
college.
should be able, since you mentioned it, you should be able to provide those facts.
Well,
They're out there. I don't need to provide them to.
Well, you're mentioning it to me, so you should provide
It
it.
is, it's one.
I
of
mean,
the-
if I'm gonna quote something, then I'm gonna back it up with
Very
it.
good.
I'm not gonna tell you, go down the corner and try to look it up. So my 3 minutes are up, and I don't mean to be confrontational.
No, I'm not confrontational
Okay,
either. I'm just
right.
asking questions.
Me too, that's all I'm doing too. So,
Absolutely, and I appreciate that.
and I will be back. I'm waiting for Ryan. Ryan's taking his time because he's a busy guy.
Yeah.
But, it was a good meeting. And,
Thank you for your input.
thank you. You guys have a good one. Yeah.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Have a great week. All right, and seeing no others here on the public comment list. Under regular announcements, next regular commission meeting will be Monday, June 3rd, 2024. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And thank you, everyone.